Blood's first betrayal. It all started for the notorious thief during the English Civil War, a bloody conflict which broke out in 1642, between King Charles I and political revolutionary Oliver Cromwell. Blood initially took up arms in defense of the king, but switched sides when he sensed the war turning in Cromwell's favor. After Cromwell's forces triumphed in 1653, Blood was decorated and granted a large estate, but he had to flee the country in 1660 when Charles II restored the monarchy and reclaimed the throne. He put a £1,000 bounty on Blood's head, as a punishment for fighting against the crown and being a general nuisance. Driven underground, quick-witted Blood started to plot against the crown, conspiring to assassinate the king and scheming to get his revenge. The long con. He later cropped up working as a doctor in Romford, starting his long con in the spring of 1671 when he hired an actress to pose as his wife and dressed himself up as a priest. The pair, posing as tourists, visited the Tower of London for a chance to see the crown jewels, held behind a reinforced door and guarded by a 77-year-old ex-soldier called Talbot Edwards. But after arriving at the reinforced room where the jewels were kept, Blood's actress faked a sudden illness, and Edwards invited her upstairs to recover. A lesser thief may have pounced at this point, but this was just the start of Blood's ingenious con. Decked out in priest gear, he thanked Edwards for looking after his wife, later sending him a gift and striking up a friendship with the guard over the next few months. When Blood offered to set his new friend's daughter up with his nephew, Edwards was delighted, and invited Blood to bring the young man along to the tower so the pair could meet. Blood's second betrayal. On the morning of May 9, 1671, Blood arrived at the tower with his son Thomas, as well as 3 other crooks hiding pistols and daggers beneath their robes. With his son posing as the eligible nephew, Blood suggested the group could get a look at the crown jewels, and unsuspecting Edwards gladly opened the gate which shielded the jewels from the public. But by the time the key had turned in the lock, Blood had pulled a mallet from his robes and struck his mark, before plunging a dagger into Edward's stomach. Just like that, the robbers were unleashed on the legendary jewels. One worked on sawing the scepter in half while another shoved an orb into his breeches, as Blood used his mallet to crudely flatten the ceremonial crown into a sheet of solid gold. But just as they were escaping, the thieves' plan was scuppered. An audience with the king, Edward's son, returned home unexpectedly, rousing the tower guards when he saw his dad crying out for help on the cold stone floor. The guards gave chase, dodging gunfire from the crooks as they raced through the ancient stone hallways of the tower, before Blood and his associates started to falter and were tackled by their pursuers. But, ever the smooth talker, Blood demanded an audience with the king and convinced his jailer to let Charles II hear his story. The crook was allowed to recount his daring scheme to the monarch, who was supposedly so impressed by the traitor that he gave him a full pardon, land in his native Ireland and a salary of £500 a year in return for him working as an agent of the crown. More than meets the eye, but many believe King Charles' decision to pardon Blood was far more complex, with some speculating that the robbery was an inside job and that the Irish wheeler-dealer could have been working for the king all along. Either way, Blood lived out the rest of his life as a renowned scoundrel, his swindling only coming to an end with his death in 1780. By that time, Blood had guaranteed his place in history, and he had become so infamous that authorities had to check he wasn't faking his death before they laid him to rest. Buried in Christ Church Gardens near London's St. James's Park, Blood's gravestone is a testament to his dastardly deeds. Etched into the stone, his epitaph reads, "Here lies the man who boldly hath run through more villainies than England ever knew, and never to any friend he had was true. Here let him then by all unpitied lie, and let's rejoice his time was come to die." Today, anyone can still visit the crown jewels, which now consists of 140 objects so valuable that they aren't even insured against loss. But if you think you can don in the old priest's robes and waltz right in, you've got another thing coming. Thank you for watching.